I am on the negative side that the American Samoa territory should be given citizenship rights at birth. I believe they shouldn't because in the article, not all born in American Samoa wants U.S. citizenship by Jennifer Cinco. She claims that the territory population is about 55,000, yet many there say they're happy being nationals and worry birthright citizenship would influence customs like the unique land ownership system. Right now, the government of the U.S. doesn't own a square inch of the land in American Samoa. The said Iowa who left his village of Lino at 18 and joined the Marine Corps and later became a citizen to qualify for military jobs that require top secret clearance. We build what we want anytime we want. There were also concerns that automatic citizenship would disrupt religious norms, such as prayer curfews that are enforced by local leaders in territory where 100% of the Samoans report being Christian, according to the American Samoa government. Selalu Timot was running for Hawaii State House in 2018 when she learned she wasn't eligible for the race because she wasn't a U.S. citizen. She said that at the time she didn't realize being born in American Samoa gave her a second-class status. But her husband, Paulu, opted to remain a national even though her Army soldier husband became a citizen. She doesn't feel like she's missing out on anything as a national. She's able to travel freely. And maintaining the land ownership structure is important to Palulu in part because she plans to return someday. The land ties you back to your family name and it's like where you belong, she said. In other words, not everyone wants to become a citizen and it doesn't bug them as much as people really think it does. Many of them value their own traditions more than anything, which is really important, especially if you had your own land for this longest time and then you know the system will change it drastically. And in another article called Preserve Choice by Simplify Citizenship for U.S. Nationals by Amuda Amada. For starters, the Hill's headline, American Samoa residents sue for citizenship, is not accurate. Court documents reflect that the plaintiffs in the case are not residents of American Samoa, but were born there and now residents of the states of Utah. She said, I support those whose particular circumstances compel them to seek citizenship, so I propose legislation simplifying the process for those U.S. nationals who choose the citizenship path, whether they live in American Samoa or not. U.S. nationals living in American Samoa should continue to have their freedom to remain U.S. nationals or seek citizenship, as their personal circumstances dictate. For those who move to other parts of the country or join military, citizenship is often attractive or useful. Since they are already nationals from the U.S. territory, they should have the easiest, simplest process to become the U.S. citizen. Fortunately, a balanced approach is available. Lets individual U.S. nationals decide for themselves while making the citizenship process much easier and less costly, specifically for U.S. nationals who choose to take the citizenship route. This avoids mandatory road everyone is required to go down. Instead of the bipartisan legislation HR 5026 pending in the House Judiciary Committee protects the Samoan culture and traditional way of life by preserving individual choice, but it removes cost, travel, and testing impediments, such as the need to move to another jurisdiction to apply for citizenship, and allows for hardship waivers on a case-by-case basis for application fees. If people want to individually become a citizen, then all right, we'll let them, but we shouldn't make it mandatory and not give people a choice and mess up everything that they want. This article had an example of allowing people to individually make that choice. If they want to do it, hooray, they can. We'll make it easy for them, but we should not make a mandatory thing. Another example why we shouldn't is because many people are afraid that what happened to Hawaii will happen to them. In the article, The Illegal Overthrow of Hawaii Kingdom Government by Keanu Sayu, states that as an independent state, the Hawaii government entered into extensive treaty relations with a variety of states, establishing diplomatic relations and trade agreements. The Hawaii Kingdom entered into 3 treaties with the United States: Treaty of Friendship, Commerce, and Navigation. Concerning the exchange of money orders, in 1983 there were only 44 independent sovereign states, which included Hawaii Kingdom, and on January 16th, 1993, the U.S. troops invaded Hawaii Kingdom without just cause, which led to a conditional surrender by the Hawaiian Kingdom. The Queen had to write an article, she had a lot, but this was the end: how to avoid any collision of armed forces and perhaps loss of lives. I do, under the protest and impelled my said force, yield my authority until such time as the government of the United States shall, upon force being presented to it. So in other words, the Queen herself of Hawaii was so scared that the U.S. would invade aggressively and then she'll lose the lives of her men, that she had to surrender. And this is why that the American Samoa should not be under the force of government from the U.S., because we don't know what they're going to do. Not everyone wants it. Not everyone agrees for it. Everyone is fine with their own traditions and customs. Why change a thing that doesn't need to be fixed in the first place? Especially since we have examples of the government taking too far advantage of what's not theirs, and they're just too aggressive with how they want to take over another country, which is just bad.